Hello all, and welcome to Hangar 412, the show that gives you the rundown on the lore and technology behind some of our favorite vehicles in fiction. And in this episode, we'll be researching the lore behind one of the most unique watercraft in gaming.
Rad Hazard!
From the arcade classic,
Hydro Thunder!
and her sequel,
Hydro Thunder! Hurricane! Rad Hazard!
is the second of only two vessels in the Hydro Thunder Racing Association and Racing League, that came later, constructed from salvaged parts, and especially salvaged aircraft parts. The other, of course, being
Misbehave!
which we covered in a previous video. Now, the biggest difference between these two vessels, aside from the basic design, of course, is whereas Misbehave was built from the debris of an old World War II era aircraft, Rad Hazard was constructed from debris found in the northwestern Mojave Desert, near property belonging to Homey Air Force Base, or as it might more commonly be known, Area 51. This fact, along with the ship's saucer-like design, has led many to believe that the salvaged parts may have extraterrestrial origins. Perhaps even the alleged UFO that crashed in Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. Though, contrary to what pop culture would have you believe, those are very geographically different areas. They are hundreds of miles apart. However, the more skeptically minded among us have speculated that the debris could have more earthly origins. Many suggest that the debris could simply just be the remains of an abandoned experimental aircraft, such as the YB-49 or XF-5U. But, given the ship's subatomic antimatter reactor, some others have suggested that the parts may have originated from a program similar to the NB-36H, the long-rumored Aurora program, or even something similar to Project Orion or Project Daedalus. The name Rad Hazard possibly belongs to two separate vessels, in a similar case to Misbehave in our previous video, whereas the first Rad Hazard seems to be the one that was built with the debris found in the Mojave Desert, and the second one seemingly built from scratch based off of the original's design. Originally, Rad Hazard sported an ultra-modified Hendershide prototype version 7.2 engine driving a single dual-cast prop for propulsion. However, this was later swapped out for the previously mentioned antimatter subatomic energy reactor or generator. However, in both cases, when the ship was using a Hendershide motor and when it was using the antimatter reactor, it would still vent neutralized antimatter from the stern of the ship to act as a sort of rocket motor to act as a booster system. With the original Rad Hazard being constructed and sailed in the late 1990s to early 2000s, another vessel going by the name Rad Hazard was entered into the Hydro Thunder Racing League in around 2010. Almost identical in every way to the original Rad Hazard of the 1990s, the 2010 model's biggest difference, of course, being a slightly redesigned hull that is noticeably different, being constructed and fabricated from the ground up, rather than using salvaged parts. But in either case, both versions of the ship come in with an overall length of just 27 feet. It is also believed that in the early 2000s, a successor to Rad Hazard, dubbed Big Kahuna, was in the early stages of development when the program was, of course, cancelled. Just as with her sister craft, Misbehave, in our previous video, Rad Hazard was equipped with a new life support system, a new oxygen feeding system, a new modernized ejection system, a modern navigation system, new speed gauges, a radar uplinking system, turn signals, at least one cup holder of course, and last but not least, your standard 8-track cassette player. And in both iterations of Rad Hazard, the vessel was constructed using the HTRA's patented and closely guarded Mighty Hole technology, utilized in all Hydro Thunder Racing Association and Racing League watercraft. All of this, of course, to meet with the organization's guidelines. Rad Hazard races under the HTRA and HTRL's Super Unlimited Open class alongside
Damn the torpedoes!
and
Thresher!
due to its twin hull design. Though many that have piloted this craft say it feels more similar to Banshee to control than anything else. Rad Hazard's hull is also designed specifically to minimize contact with the surface of the water, using a hydroplane style design, and you can tell that it's designed specifically not to break the surface tension of the water, giving it the same or similar effect to skipping a stone on water. This also has the occasional effect of allowing the vehicle to utilize what's called ground effect, allowing the vehicle to operate very similar to an chronoplan or what's called a ground effect vehicle. Simply, it has a cushion of air pressurized underneath it that allows it to stay just barely above the surface of the water. As with Misbehave, there wasn't a whole lot of lore, just a small amount on this rather unique racing vessel, but I can still say I feel like I learned a lot about her. And like in my previous Hydro Thunder video, this was a ton of fun to research for, and of course finding ways to connect it to my own background with experimental aircraft is always fun. So definitely expect more expeditions into the Hydro Thunder universe in the future. And as always, I hope y'all enjoy learning about this obscure lore about these lesser discussed vehicles from the multiverse as much as I do. And if you did, don't forget to like, comment, share, and antimatter boost into that subscribe button for more lore from across the 7 seas of the multiverse. Peace.